All right, guys, we're doing this fun succulent. It was requested by Jan, our very own member of our community, to do hens and chicks. So during the marathon, and that's what we did. Let's get started on this one. Good morning and welcome to Deliberately Creative. I'm Stephanie. We're here with our first video of the day. I will be doing a second video this afternoon, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and it will be the stack of rocks. That's going to be fun too. But for right now, we are going to be doing this beautiful hens and chicks, strings of pearls. It's all succulents in a tray of rocks. Lots of little fiddly details, but it can be a lot of fun too. Let's get started. I'm going to take off my headphones. I don't think I need it. I haven't quite started hearing my... Oh, that's because I didn't turn on the speaker. There we go. All right. So we're going to get started right in on this today instead of taking quite so long. I am going to be first. I didn't get that particular. I got everything else all organized and I didn't get that one trimmed down. There we go. So I made my own palette of core paints. So these are the core watercolors by Golden. I got it all in tubes. I don't have their pan set. So I made my own little tiny pan set. This was actually a field artist box. And empty, I have these little empty half pans. And I put the paints in and let them sit for quite a while. They are dry, so I need to spray my palette. I'm just gonna put water in on all of them. I don't know what colors I'm going to use for sure. But what I have in my palette here is the cadmium red, the quinacridone magenta, cadmium yellow, the nickel azo yellow, quinacridone gold, burnt sienna, permanent alizarin crimson, permanent scarlet, the pyrrole orange, Van Dyke brown, burnt umber, ultramarine, phthalo blue, cobalt teal, diox purple, the sap green, and the Payne's gray. Everything except the sap green and the Payne's gray are single pigments. These are professional paints, and they are vibrant and they are luscious, and I haven't used them hardly at all because I've been wanting to do mostly the inexpensive things. I don't have these linked yet. I will put them in. I don't think I have them linked. Might be in my art and watercolor tab on my Amazon store. So check that. If I don't have it there, I will before the end of the day. So I've just got those, getting some water. I put a piece of my eraser. I just tore off a piece of the eraser to stick on the back so that I could keep it from sliding around. We'll see. We'll see. You can't see the chat, multitasking. All right, Shauna, thank you so much. And know that I know you're here. And Linda, yeah, hey Linda, welcome. Yeah, you're Tangy on, you're Linda, be a mom, be you, bake, be a mom, be you on Tangy is awesome. I love her stuff, and she's a really good member of our fun community. All right, I'm gonna get right into painting. So let's go like this. We have the reference. Now, if we look at this reference, our design is sitting on top of a clear table. I'm going to make the table less see-through, I think. Or I'm not going to show that it's a table, and it's just going to have some of these darks and lights pooled in around the art. So I'm going to pool in darks and lights in the background. And I will wipe out the areas here with paper toweling. If you want to play along with us, I do have all of the designs available as a downloadable. so that you can download and print onto watercolor paper, and then you can color along with us. You don't have to be able to draw to do these pieces of art. I've got it all ready for you. But if you want to learn how to draw, I will have up in the iCard after the show the playlist that has all of our marathon videos and all of the videos from the live streams for the entire month. As the month goes on, I am putting more up there. I'm just going right over those strings of pearls right now. I'm going to see how well the core paints lift out. This could be interesting. I think I'm going to keep it fairly light right there to begin with. But to start off, I'm just going to wet down this background. I am going to change to a smaller brush because this brush does not fit into those pans. All right, Amy, take care of yourself. Yeah. And you usually watch to see what I do first and then paint later. Yeah, that's always a good thing, guys, is if it's something you've never done before, watch it first. And then once you know the materials you need, any special things you need to do. I just got my brush wet. I have the number 12 round by Mimic. Number 12 round Mimic by Creative Mark, which is a brand from Jerry's Artorama. I am going to go ahead and let's see if we make that a little bit smaller. Move that up a little bit. We don't need to see the all of the swatches. I need to see the swatches, but you don't need to. And so then, wow, there's a bit of shaking going on. Wonder if there was a big truck or something. This is the burnt sienna color. And ooh, the quinacridone gold. Isn't that a pretty color? Burnt sienna and quinacridone gold, but I need to make it dark. So now I'm going to just go and grab some of that phthalo blue. Ooh, that made it green. That's lovely because there is some green. Kind of muddy, out of focus green in the background. And I like that with the green and the blue being part of our dark colors. We're going to go dark right up to the edge of that plate. This is kind of like a galaxy, except that I'm doing it with green. You just got the set of brushes yesterday. Michelle, what do you think so far? I know you said you just got them, so, but what do you think so far of the ones you've tried? I really enjoy them. I'm kind of working that. The strings of pearls is going to be a brighter. I could have gone in and done this whole painting with gouache. I've got a couple different kinds, but I wanted to use the core on this because that was something that another request from Jan was to use the core paints. So we're using them. I'm sort of bringing that in a random way around. Let's look at that. That's pretty. I'm going to try and keep my paper wet. So if you are new here, you don't know who I am, I'm Stephanie. I've been doing painting on YouTube, painting and drawing on YouTube for over 5 years now. I'm working on getting to that 100,000 mark. It's taking a little longer than I was expecting at this point. But I'm seeing the change happen. Now look at this. I have not changed the color in my brush from what I had picked up. The green gold, the burnt sienna, and the phthalo blue. Oh, there. I can move it up that way. Ah, that works. And it's giving us this lovely separation of colors. Let's zoom in on that more. Over here on this side, I think. Just for the moment. So you see how we're getting this lovely granulation of the colors. And the color in my brush is getting lighter. There's less pigment in my brush. But I'm going ahead and using that pigment that's in my brush to just sort of get a bit of a base of color behind and around without doing... Ooh. Oh, that's pretty. That is so pretty. I'm going to be off the screen. Just tiny edge right there. You can see where I am. Tiny edge. And right up here at the top, I'll just rotate this. There we go. Right up here at the top, I want to soften that. We're going to see how well the paper and paint move. Ooh. As long as I am gentle, because remember, scrubbing on this paper isn't a good idea. This is the, I don't have my, oh, there it is. It's like, where's the information sheet? The paper that I'm working on is the Hanamula bamboo mixed media paper. It's 265 GSM, about 125 pound, and watercolor, acrylic, and pastel. Color pencil and ink work really nice on it also. This is watercolor pencil right there. That was really pretty too. That's from the Picture of Daisies. So if you're interested, lots of different ideas and things afoot. See that little edge right there? Right here. It's just a tiny little spot that I noticed. Tiny little spot that I noticed. The tape that's on here is just plain old drafter's tape. Spot of water in the middle. Dab that out. So we're going to focus down here on this half of the painting. So I think that's going to work out really well. So there we go. I like that effect. I don't think we really need to do much more. I think once I've got the green that I want on these string of pearls, I will darken up around them a little bit, but I don't want to darken up too soon. And that's the thing with watercolor. Start light. You can always darken up as you go along. And I'm saying that this is kind of a cloudy reflection. It's glass that we're looking through to stuff below. But I'm also saying that we're getting a little bit of glare and reflection from like window or something on that glass tabletop. So there. I do have some watercolor pencils if I need to deepen up some tones quickly in the rocks. We're going to go in and do the rocks, then do the hens and chicks and the string of pearls. You love the background? Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. And thank you guys. If you're new, click that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I am getting my videos scheduled out in advance. So if you see one that you like, that you want to make sure you get notified on, just click the reminder bell on the actual video. Say, remind me. And they will actually remind you. They send you a reminder about 30 minutes before the video. So my husband had his reminders turned on. Yeah, that's my goal, is that this sort of brownish, natural brown tones will make the other colors pop, because I am going to push these hens and chicks a little bit brighter in the pinks and greens and purples. But the white rocks are white rocks. So I am going to take a bit of some ultramarine blue and a bit of Van Dyke brown. Let's see. I'm looking for an interesting brown dark. Here, we'll zoom into it so I can tell you what I'm looking for right now. So what I'm looking for right now is that really dark color that's around the rocks. And if you look at it, that really dark color that's around the rocks, I don't know, I can't really, now I'll make that smaller. That really dark color that's around the rocks in this area here, see, that's way too light. But around the rocks, around the rim, it's a really dark color. So I'm going to grab some phthalo blue and add that in. And, well, I guess that was quinacridone gold. That's going to make it green. And then I'm going to take the burnt umber. And I need more burnt umber. I need to get that a little bit more wet. So now you're not seeing it because I zoomed in for the painting. Okay, there's burnt umber. These colors are, there we go. Nice, dark. That's almost a black turquoise. There we are. See, we've got that really dark. I'm using just the tiny tip. Let's see if I'm lined up. Which way am I going? That's the direction I'm going. Tiny, just the tippy tip of this brush, and putting that super, super dark color right around the rim. So yeah, you start out light, and then I like to push in some of the darks, especially in something like this. Cool thing here is that basically this is coloring in. So if you like to color, this is the perfect kind of gateway for learning how to color using watercolors. I'm just going to pull that all the way around. I like that color. That is so nice. It's almost inky black, but it's not black. It's a deep, deep turquoise. And I'm not worried if I thin that line down just a little bit. There, see? Can do that. And so I'm going to work my way around out here on the edge, just very lightly. If I go over lines, that's okay. You know, it's all part of learning control, and I don't have perfect control with my brush. I don't think anybody has perfect control unless you're looking at the Japanese masters. They may have perfect control. I am not one of them. I'm putting that super dark right down around, down deep in around some of those pearls. I think some of those little pearls are going to end up being sort of absorbed in. But you could color this in with colored pencils. You could color it in with watercolor pencils. If you wanted, you know, it would actually be easier to go in with a nice sharp watercolor pencil and lay in this dark. And maybe I could have, I could have done that. Not maybe. I could have done that. This would also be really pretty with alcohol markers. So let's take a quick look here. Michelle, take care of yourself. Take care of yourself, take care of your family, take care of your friend's family, and hugs. And know that this will be here when you're ready to come back and watch it. It's not going to go away. Sometimes having something like this to turn on and just let play can be comforting, but sometimes it's not a distraction that you want. You need to feel the things you need to feel. I'm just working my way around. And you'll decide when. See, my color is actually lightening up just a smidge. I haven't reloaded my brush. I can't really zoom in with this camera very much, so I'm going to go back to the top down. There we go. Go back to the top down. Let's see if I can rotate that. There we go. This is that really inky dark color. I just picked up some more of the color. Just going in. If it gets light, if it gets dark. Now I am working on dry paper. Inside of this bowl is completely dry, so I don't have to worry about it bleeding off, and I can set my hand right down on it. I see right here, this wide open area is going to be nice and dark. This is a fiddly painting, indeed. And sometimes we need that. We need those little areas to fill in. So it's going to take me a minute to do. I know I could have just done a wash of green over everything, basically, and then gone back in. That probably would have been a good idea. So maybe that's what you want to do. But, you know, I think I needed this. Just working that in. Starting to work some of the shadow up in around the hens and chicks. The little plants, I'm going to go ahead and say that there's really dark right down in here. And really dark right down in there. Just looking at it going, where's the rocks? Sometimes you can't tell the difference between the rocks and the shadows. So just make your best guess. You don't have to follow exactly what I'm doing. You can do it the way you need to and how it feels right to your eye. I like that. And because I'm working so dark right now, it can actually go right over those pen lines and make some of those pen lines actually make sense, or it can make them disappear. By the time we're done, you're going to hardly even realize that this was completely a pen drawing. And yesterday's painting is definitely a reflection of that. It hardly looks like it was a pen drawing. It looks very much like it was just a gouache painting. Gouache and watercolor. So, and that was the peanut butter fudge outer space galaxy milkshake. Which was just a total surprise and delight. I'm just going to put some dark right around that edge where they're sort of pushing in. See, that spot is more dark. This is kind of a reverse painting. You just did a watercolor background on a canvas. Ooh! Did you put a watercolor ground or something like that onto the canvas? Or are you using one of those Jerry's Artorama Yes canvases that already have watercolor ground on them and are good for watercolor and acrylic? I think I might have a Yes canvas around here. I may have to try that with watercolor. I used them when I was doing back in the day when I was doing a lot of acrylic. And they were inexpensive at the time. Okay, so now I'm going to come back. So I got some of that colored in around the hens and chicks there. I want to get around those strings of pearls. So yeah, I'm doing this probably the most awkward and crazy way, but you know what? It's making sense to my brain, and I think that's what we need. We just need to make sense to ourselves when we are creating and being creative. You don't have to, especially when you're doing things that are cozy and are uplifting for yourself, you don't need to do it any prescribed way except for what makes your heart happy. The neat thing about this is it's a way to stay mindful. It's a way to stay present. You have to pay attention. You have to make decisions, but none of these decisions are, necessarily life-altering. So if you make a decision and you put paint in a place that you're not exactly happy with it, your life will continue. This is not, paint it right or death. This is just have fun. And it's only a piece of paper. If you've got the downloadable book, you can just print it out again. If you drew it yourself, you can just draw it again. You already know how if you drew it yourself. So, that's looking good already. Yay! All right. So just sort of, settle in. Enjoy the time. Enjoy moments of your own company. I think sometimes we don't spend enough time just in the company of ourselves when we are having fun. Hello, Harlan. Welcome. And Tara, welcome. And Bertie Ann, hello. Wow. So you went back and you're working on a 1980s coloring book? Uncle Dan, that is awesome. The flux capacitor has you engrossed. So you've got the Doctor Who coloring book. That's awesome. Well, hold it. Flux capacitor. No, that's not Doctor Who. Who is that? Flux capacitors. Sorry, my brain. But again, my brain is in art zone right now, so I'm hoping that you don't mind if I misspeak sometimes, I am doing it live in front of everybody, so sometimes my brain is working on 3 or 4 things right now at the same time. One is trying to come up with things to talk about. 2, you guys are getting stream of consciousness. You're getting the things that my brain is thinking about. 3, I'm trying to, make sure and let you know what I'm doing. So this turquoise was mixed up from the green gold, the burnt sienna, the burnt umber, and phthalo blue. And it's this really, really super deep dark green that I love. And it's working so well as the deep shadow. Back to the Future. Thank you. Yeah, the flux capacitor in the DeLorean. Getting that all sorted out. See, I do know some pop culture stuff. There's some pop culture stuff in my repertoire. I'm just filling in some of those spaces. This is this whole thing right here is very much like the pattern tangling type of thing, but it's one of those organic kind of patterns. So it's mindfulness is really key with it. Keeping track of where you are, what you're seeing. And it does help with creating a sense of calm and peacefulness. I know a lot of my community has said that having these live shows is, quite a blessing in the crazy world that we live in right now. Having a place that they know is safe and peaceful, calm, and filled with goodwill. And knowing that it is a safe place filled with goodwill, positivity. That is, that's my goal, actually. One of my big goals is to always create a place where people feel safe to be themselves, to be kind, to know that kindness will be given back. I mean, we had an opportunity yesterday to show kindness and gentleness in a situation that could have been less positive. And then we found out that someone else had come in and was using the person's name, using their account, and posting the less than kind things. But I didn't ban that person to begin with. And I ended up not banning them at all. They came back in and apologized for the situation. So sometimes if we jump and, see something that we don't like, and we jump on it and stomp on it and say, bad, 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 we don't like you, then we don't give the opportunity for the person or the situation to change. We just say, boom. Now, there's certain things that I don't tolerate. I don't tolerate personally bad language. It's not one of my things, but I will give the opportunity for people to change the way they interact with me, because many people don't know what the rules are, what the toleration points are. And that's the same in life. What are the rules? What are the toleration points? What are the points where you won't let someone step beyond in your life? Sometimes you have to share those rules with people. They don't all know. And it's kind of a thing, it's called code switching, where, you'll talk one way with your friends, you'll talk another way with, in a professional setting, you'll talk another way with your family. And so you're switching code, you're switching the language, and sometimes people don't know when it's appropriate to switch. And there. Shauna, thank you so much. I am glad that this is giving you a reason to get up and move around and enjoy interacting with others, and sort of pulling out of, if it pulls you out of a situation or out of a sense of whatever you're feeling that you're not happy about feeling, I think that's a blessing. That is a blessing. So there we go. I am just going in now and putting those dark colors down deep inside. So if I was doing this as a pre-recorded video, this would all be fast. This bit here would all be in speed. And we would have the rocks done already, and we'd be painting those hens and chicks. But because I'm doing it live and showing you, see, I kind of worked around the outside and then I'm working into the middle. This is going to be much more illustrative, I think. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you for taking care of yourselves. Thank you for coming in and supporting my channel, watching the videos. Even if you fall asleep while the video is playing, that's awesome. You know, neat thing here is that you can always play the video again. I have found that going and watching the Bob Ross channel is very, very calming to my mind. Gives me just a sense of peace and gentleness. I've been told that my channel tends to lean that direction also, that people will turn on the videos and just let them play because it gives them a sense of peace and calm and gentleness. And I just painted a rock, the dark color, and that's okay. I'll make it even darker around behind it, and then it just looks like it's really deep in shadow. See? Not worried about it. Not stressing. Don't stress over it. Just breathe into it and relax. And I know for me, I would usually be, if I'm doing something like this that's just for me, I would be turning on just the calm music, you know, like that calm music that's playing in the background right now, that I can't hear. But I would just turn on some calm music, and I would have a cup of tea or coffee sitting to the side. I'd paint a bit. I'd drink some of my coffee or tea. I'd look at it and think about it and then paint a bit more. I'm going to paint that out. I'm going to make that a bigger dark area. There we go. See? And all of this was painted in with the same dark color. So not anything big. That deep teal is just yummy. Thank you, Jan. I hope that you're enjoying this painting. I'm going to shift that for a moment. Take a look here. See if I have any more dark spaces that I want to fill in. I should have been all zoomed in on it. Yeah, that dark teal is, I mean, it's dark. It's almost a black. I saw some spots. I just want to get the dark in there so then I can work my lighter colors on top. I mean, truthfully, see, I could go in like this and start putting some of those rocks in, just touching it with that same color. But it's so much lighter on my brush now. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to go along and just sort of touch a few spots. These rocks really are white, but I'm going to use that green as my shadow color since it's the deep shadow. Might as well keep it in the same family. Maybe a little bit darker right under the petals. That little hens and chick, but not as dark as the darkest background. See? We're just putting in those colors and just dancing it around. Not worried about it. Just saying, you know, there's texture on those little pebbles, on that crushed white rock. See how quick that goes in though, right? The fiddliest bit, I think, was doing all of that background. Not too worried about making it perfect. Just adding a little bit of color here and there. I have not got my brush more wet. I did just pick up a little bit more of the green, so it might be a little bit darker. So go in, if you just pick up the paint, don't go into the brightest spot, those brightest areas. Don't go into the highlight top. When you first pick up your paint, so my brush is still, it's pretty dry, but I can still pick up paint, so it's damp enough. Now it's picked up a lot of dark paint. I don't want it to go out here onto these lightest areas, but I see maybe down inside I can get up on the tip of my brush and make a few darker spaces. This is very monochromatic right now, meaning single color. I know most of you guys know that, but not everybody does. Not everybody knows all the art terms. And this is a safe place. If I say something and you don't know what it means and I haven't explained it, please ask. Many times people here in the group will already have the answer and they can answer for me. And if people don't have the answer, they will, put it in caps and make sure that I see it. Yeah, it's a deep green. It's a, this green was made with it's a very tealy green. It's just really dark. It was made with the green gold, or not green gold, quin gold. I keep saying green gold. It's the quin gold, a little bit of the Van Dyke brown, the phthalo blue, and some burnt umber. I was kind of just mixing colors up. But, and it is the core watercolors. So I'll just set it right there. So I'm just picking up some more of that dark color. I'm looking in here. This is one of those times where once you start going in and putting in darks and lights, you'll see, oh, well, that needs to be dark there. And that needs to be dark here. And, oh, underneath that petal there should be darker, right? That rock is overlapping that. So it's giving you, you'll find a flow through your painting. And you don't have to do it the way the picture shows. I'm not looking at the picture. I didn't draw the rocks exactly the way the picture shows. But I'm thinking about how do the shadows go. I can look at that reference and I can see, well, how do shadows work on this painting? How does it look like they are rocks? So let's just go really big. What does it look like? What does it look like? It's like, I kind of need my picture to be flipped, but I'm not going to flip the picture. But what you can see is, let's see. I wonder, how do I do that? If you look around there though, you can see there's spots of super dark down in the rocks. And that's how I'll do it. That's how I'll do it. So in the reference, when you're looking at it, there's spots of super dark down inside the rocks. There's dark that's right up underneath of the petals, but then there's shadow areas that come out that show shadow, but it makes it look like that petal is floating above the rocks. It's not part of the rocks. So that's what I'm going for there. And I did rotate this. Let's see. This picture is kind of rotated. I didn't put as many rocks between. Oh, there they are. There's those rocks that are between the Oh, this is weird. I'm looking up at my camera, or not my camera, my monitor, and I'm painting. Oh, this is kind of like, oh, this would be like those remote sensing or remote doctors that are doing the AI type of surgeries. They're working with a robot far away. They can't actually touch or see what they're working on. That's weird. Looking at the monitor as I paint and not looking at the painting itself. That's a bizarre feeling because I know that I'm the one moving my hand. It's kind of like it's kind of like a video game. Like I'm controlling the cursor on a video game. Oh, that's weird. I like that actually. That's a crazy feeling. Okay, I'm going to drop that back down here. Or, ooh, I can go that way with it. There we go. I'm just trying to make it so that it's easier for you to see. The photograph is not super high quality, so it does get a little bit out of focus feeling. But look at this. Look at that. Now you can see. Core watercolor line, they were looking amazing. Love what I'm seeing. The pigments are laying down as I paint. They are lovely. They are lovely. The best greens that you've found so far are the Derwent greens, Uncle Dan. Excellent. I don't have any. Well, the Derwent, I think I've got a few watercolor pencils in Derwent. I've got the Inktense colors. Those are gorgeous. They're very bright. Jan says that she loves greens, but she loves to paint flowers. You need to have some good greens. You want core paints for your birthday. Early. You want them now. All right. I am looking at that. I think I've got enough of the rocks. I want to get some of the succulent going in. And the succulent, if we look at that, it's actually got a base of like a kind of a creamy beige color, but I want to pump it up some. I want it to be a little bit green. I want it to be a little bit, kind of like, let's see if we can get that. So I just went in that color that we used in the background. I just added some more of the brighter yellow, the cad yellow. And that is the primrose yellow, cadmium primrose. So now I've got kind of a creamy looking green. See, I'm doing this very earthy, but then we're going to take some of those pinks in. That might be, I'm just going to wash this over the whole thing just to give us a base. Look at that, just washing it in. Not worried, just pushing that color in. I think I will push it in on the little guys too. And hope that I, did it as a light enough tone. Light enough tone. Just pushing that color in. These colors flow really nicely, and the colors in the background may or may not be completely dry, so some of them may be lifting up and moving in. I did not test the lifting up, but yep, it looks like they're going to start bleeding in a little bit. That's okay. Don't fuss. Don't. There's no fuss and fury here. This is, let's just have fun. But succulents are one of those things, again, very pattern tangly. I see a little bit of that darker, I see a little bit of the rocks that I need to maybe put in a little bit darker. I will be going in and pumping up some of the contrast for sure. But I want to dry this now. I want that to be, well, maybe I'll try something I haven't done. So we're going to see if we can lift out any of the color. I'm looking at that going, there's some spots where the color is not as dark. So let's just see. I don't know. Oh, it lifts out a little bit. A little bit of color being lifted. There's not very much color on here, so if it's a little bit darker in a couple spots. Yeah, see, I could scrub, but this paper does not take scrubbing well. This is a mixed media paper that I'm painting on. Yeah, yeah. What can I say? You know, sometimes an idea works and sometimes it doesn't. I'm going to lighten that one up. Those ones have a little bit more paint on them. See how it just shifted just a little bit. All right. Doodling in small watercolors is some of the best way to work on your technique. So now I'm looking at that and I'm going, we want a little bit more of, I want to brighten this up though. So I'm going to start changing my colors up a little bit. I'm taking that primrose yellow into that green, and I'm going to go ahead and put that in kind of in a washed in way. Let's see. I am not going to worry about letting my colors dry completely. So if my colors start to bleed a little bit because I start working on overlapping colors, you know what? It's just what's going to happen. I am an impatient painter. Maybe that's what I should call myself. I am the impatient painter. I want to move along and paint. So sometimes things are surprising. Sometimes things happen and I don't expect them. And I probably should if I was a more thoughtful painter. But being impatient, I will put colors next to other colors probably sooner than I should, and things will start to flow around a little bit in surprising ways. But I'm coloring. I really and truly, I am just coloring. I'm doodling with my colors. I'm experimenting. I'm letting things just sort of grow and happen. The back side of this is a little bit darker, so I'm going to try and maintain some of those lighter colors forward. So this is a little darker to the back. I might just pick up some of these colors that are already mixed up on here. I might just pick up a little bit and start pushing some darker tones in here and there. This is not a perfect representation of the reference. This is me having fun. And I want you to have fun with it. Don't worry and don't stress, because gee whiz, it's just paper. It's a little bit of time. And even if something doesn't turn out the way you're expecting it to the first time, golly, you learned things. You learned, well, maybe I do need to let that dry a little bit before I move over to something else. Maybe I do need to pay a little bit closer attention to something that I didn't pay attention to that time. You know, just chill out. just be chill. Just have fun. I am having fun. Oh my gosh. And it's working. It's working. It's having fun and going at it with a light heart, go at your paintings with a light heart. Don't look at this as, something hard that you're trying to do. Look at it as an experience that you're trying to have. Having an experience, working things out, that, oh wow, yeah, see, totally different colors than what that is, but I'm going to bring some of the magenta in. Oh, I'm just looking. You love the green. Yeah. Greens, people get really scared of green. And it's not, it's just blue. This is just a blue, yellow, and a brown, basically. And really, you can pump up your greens really interestingly by adding a bit of an orange to them. So I just added a bit of orange to that green. Look at that. I just made it a warmed up brown that I can use down here in my shadows. But it's still a green. That's fun. And if you put a color down on your paper and you go, ooh, that might be too dark, or ooh, that might be the wrong color. Once you've put it on the paper, there's a couple things. You could blot, and you could try and minimize the color. Or you can push into it and go, you know what? I think that is actually working much to my benefit. Maybe you were surprised by that color. That surprise actually helps your brain feel like you are accomplishing things. We're just getting more and more shape. That darker color is pushing some of these petals to the background more. But I am not, like I said before, not being a slave to the reference. I'm using it as a reference. But you can certainly be very, very specific and very, very paint very realistically. This is a pen doodle that was drawn very quickly. Well, actually, it took me about an hour to draw this one because this was drawn live in front of other people. So, just don't stress and worry about it. Hey, I drew this live in front of people, and I'm willing to bring it out in front of people again and paint on it. The drawing is much more my comfort zone. The painting I am becoming more comfortable with. Let's zoom out on that. Let's take a look at that. So let me move that out of the way. Zoom. Look at that. Very illustrative, very much like an illustration. I like the black outlines on this one. I like the way the colors are coming in and giving us light and dark. I'm really enjoying that. Wow. There's darker tones out on the edges. I'm going to grab some more of that orange. I think I'm going to brighten that up just a little bit. I'm going to bring a little bit more of that orangey tone. Might be scary. As my shadow on top of that green. Orange is in the red-brown. It's more of a brown family, but this orange has a bit of the green in it. So it makes it feel a little more natural for shadows than than adding a black or something like that to it, right? We're going to just pump a little bit of that orange into the shadow. And that also gives me sort of a shift into warmer tones for this other side, because these greens are very cool that I've been using, and I want to shift it so that it feels a little bit warmer on this side. you're getting my thinking about and figuring out as I go along. I am not, I did not pre-paint this one. I haven't pre-painted any of the ones for this month except for the cover of the book. I did do a painting, a pre-painting. I printed it out on cardstock and painted it, or printed out on watercolor paper and painted it to make the cover for the book. So if you are interested, let's take a look and see. Now this is coming apart because this is just printed off of my printer and it was glued together. I need to just put tape or something on the binding. I'm going and looking for the where we started and where we are. So it's a little bit harder to see all of the steps in one video or one screen, isn't it? Let's zoom out. There we go. And then make that smaller. So this reference is actually just a piece of the photograph. So where we started, actually where I started was the reference. Where I went to with my pen drawing. See, it's different than the reference. And where we are right now. Since we're almost at the 1 hour mark, you know, I need to kind of give you guys a look at where we are. But look at this, how that lighter color right here, that orangey tone just warmed up that side. I'm going to be putting some of that down in here on the little hens and chicks that are on this side also. They're going to be much more warm, these little babies. See, even just that little bit, just that little touch on it just warms it up. So if you're interested in the book, the link is in the chat, pinned at the top. It is down below in the more information box, and it will be up in the iCard when we are done. I drew all 30 designs during the 14-hour, yes, 14-hour marathon where I did all 30 designs in one shot without, well, there's a cut only because YouTube wouldn't do the whole 14 hours. They only archive 12 hours. So let's get that zoomed in and do I like photography? Absolutely. Photography is one of my favorite things. And when I was working in education, I actually for several years, because our school for some reason didn't, well, it was kind of a low income school, and the sports photographers didn't, they were very expensive, and the school had contracted with one who didn't show up for a couple different appointments that they had scheduled. I mean, the sports photographer said, have your kids ready on these days, and they didn't show up. So I was like, okay, I have a camera, I've got editing software, I can do it. So I did for about 4 years all the sports photography for the school. And that was all of the sports teams. You know, all the boys sports, all the girls sports, all the team, you know, everybody sports. So it was like a second job, and I did it as a silly me. I did it basically volunteer. And I didn't charge, you know, we basically just charged cost for the actual photographs. So I worked out what the what the cost of the packages would be. So I would do the team pictures and then I would do all the individual pictures. And I actually liked doing it. So, and because my job, the way it worked, I was able to do some of the editing at work. So I was being paid for part of the time that I did it. I'm just using some of that orangey color right there. I want to get a little bit more contrast in there. This is just drying as we go, so I'm not too worried. I'm going to move over here to this one, get a little bit of that orangey color. Maybe some of that right under there, saying that's sort of a shadow. This little guy is under the edge. The cup is going to go in really easy because it's going to be a ring. I think I will brighten it up a little bit and make it more of an aqua teal, lighter bluey green. Kind of keep it in the same family, but and then our coffee in the cup. So those things are coming. But yeah, so I did that. So, yeah, so it ended up being a fundraiser. And, you know, I would figure out the price and, you know, we would make like for the whole school, you know, I didn't make a ton of money and I didn't get paid the money. So it was just, it was for the fun, you know, for the fun of it, for the experience. And yeah, it was nice to be able to do that. I did, after about 4 years, get a little bit tired and say, guys, we need to. I was also kind of planning my exit strategy so that I could move on out from the school. But yeah, I was working my exit strategy. So after about 4 years, I decided, you know what? We need to find another way for this to happen. So you use a phone on live focus. Yeah, that phone photography now is so good. You know, getting our each iteration of cell phones have gotten better and better. So yeah, any questions that are asked in here, please, if you are asking a question, understand that questions asked in here are kind of open questions to the whole group. If you want to ask someone a private question, you need to find a private way to contact them. So just understand that we're a very helpful group, and we all read a question and it's like, oh, well, I know an answer to that, or I can tell you my reference to that. So, and that's part of the community aspect of this group, and I love it. So now I'm going to grab some of this quinacridone magenta. Very, very pink. Look at that. But totally different than that magenta from the set yesterday. And remember that we are also a group that we don't do self-promotion. If I know you and have given permission, like Gina has permission and she doesn't abuse it. Gina has permission to be able to mention, hey, I'm doing a live stream tomorrow. Or, hey, I'm doing a live stream, you know, for my channel or for my business. Gina has that because she is my moderator, and she is somebody that I know and I trust not to abuse the opportunity. So I'm taking some of that magenta in there, and I'm testing to see if, ooh, See if my big brush is going to work or not. So what I should be doing is using a brush, having the 2 brush. Oh, that's going to work. See how that's giving me that lovely pink glow? So yeah. Yeah, we all want to help. So thank you, Harlan, for understanding. So it's one of those things again, we learn by asking questions, and we all try to be very understanding when people are asking questions. And if they, like I said, we have a group that's very, very knowledgeable about a lot of different things. So just starting to work that pink in now. But you see what I did here though, is I went and I tested it on my littlest ones before going in on my big, on the big mama, that big mama. Just working with a very light hand though, not pressing the color in too much. This quinacridone can be a very, very strong color, but you can also, since I have those green tones, kind of glowing green tones, green natural tones. Let's look at that. Yeah, that's making me happy. Yeah, so this is definitely beginner friendly. And I'm a beginner friendly location, guys. This is, many of my pieces, even though the ending piece looks super, super detailed, you notice we're doing this step by step. We're not too worried about perfection. I'm going in with just a little bit stronger version and putting just a few little detail marks, just a few here and there. I do crawl up on my brush a lot. I'm trying to keep my hand out of the way. It takes a village. Yep, this village is full of very knowledgeable people. I am so lucky. The men and women that come into my group are very knowledgeable and very caring. And I love, we do have a Facebook page and we have a Facebook group. So those are places where you can share your artwork. You can also share your art on my Tangi. When I upload I'm doing like speed videos of a lot of these. So if I upload a speed video of one of these on Tangi, which is a short form video community type site. It's an app for your phone or your tablet, and it's really cool because it's all DIY. It's teach and give is what Tangi means, and it is all basically physical things or creativity. So we've got a few people who do makeup over there. More so, we've got lots of people who do lettering. If you want to learn how to do lettering, or if you are somebody who does things with kids, we've got a great group of people who were like mom bloggers who became YouTube and YouTube blogger or YouTube vlogging, and then they've come in and they're doing these lovely little things you can do with your kids. Lots of recycle crafts, lots of small book arts, lots of lettering, lots of painting. And it's a very international group. I'm just taking some of that magenta now. Oh, that's looking pretty. Onto these petals. And see, I'm going to focus the magenta over to this side more. There might be a touch of it over here, more washed out in the dark. But it's a lot of fun, and we're building a lot of community over there. It's still in its young stage. It is a Google or Alphabet company program or process or platform. There it is, platform. I knew it was a P word. It's a Google company platform that is in its infancy. It's, you know, ground floor type stuff. So it was fun to be able to be in on the ground floor of a new platform. It's very, very popular in India. A lot of things are very popular in India that are the short, quick, by necessity, because in many countries they don't have the access to all of the unlimited internet that we do here. I mean, pretty much here, there's some place that you can go and be able to get on your phone and access the internet, even if it's sitting in your car outside of the coffee shop or outside of McDonald's. Go in, buy your McMuffin, and then hang out in the parking lot for a little while and do some internet stuff if you don't have your internet at home. So, but in some of these other countries like India and places that they have to pay for every minute their phone is on and connected. So these short platform type sites, TikTok, and oh, that is looking so pretty. I just looked up at the big screen. Ha! And thank you, Gina. I appreciate your work on this. Yep, everybody here is an artist. If you choose to create something, you are an artist. You are creative, and you are making it. As soon as you make something, you're an artist. But you're the one who gets to decide. Nobody else gets to decide what you are. So today you might be a painter, and tomorrow you might be a sculptor. And both days are valid. See how working it in on top of the darker green, it's making it get that color, that pink over there, but it's not as bright as on this side. You've got the two sides. We kept one side warm and light, and one side cool and darker. Yep, be nice, be courteous. Aw. Thank you, Amy. Glad you had a nice nap. I am loving how this is working out. I hope you are too. If you are enjoying this, please make sure that you click that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so that you'll be notified when new videos go up. If you see one that I have scheduled that you are really interested in, make sure and click the remind me button right on that video. I will be getting more scheduled. I'm scheduled out through the 10th of the month right now, but I will be getting scheduled out farther in by the end of the day today. Oh, yes, I like that. Now, something that I'm seeing here is that I need a little bit more dark on this other side. I kind of flipped it. So I need to grab a little bit more I'm just taking some of that green, that teal green from the background and kind of mixing it into that middle green that I had there. Making kind of a mud color so that I can go in and look at that. You just darken it up. Just darken it up. And again, I am working, my brush this time right now is actually quite wet. I just realized. So I am trying to sort of leave some dry spaces between. I might hit this with a blow dryer just for a second to start the drying process, but maybe not. Maybe I can just pick up enough of that. I just dried my brush off. Oh, look at that. You dry your brush off. We're going to go in. Yeah, it's out of focus for a second. There we go. So you dry your brush off and then you just touch, and it's almost like a sponge, and it picks up the color or picks up the extra water. And I'm just bringing it over and wiping the tip of my brush on a paper towel. Oh, look at that. It still needs to be darker down in there. So I'm going to grab some of that Van Dyke brown and mix it in. And then I'm going to pick up a little bit of that green. So I just mixed some Van Dyke brown in here, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of that green that we used in the background. See, it doesn't look super, super dark, does it? But when we put it on here, look how dark that is comparatively. And because my paper is wet now, I'm just putting a drop and letting it spread. That's one of the cool things with the core paints, is that they have like a spreading agent, that's built in to the paint. So you don't have to add any flow aid or anything like that to it. Darker right there, and darker right there. Kind of pulled that around a little bit more than I wanted to, so I'm just gonna, I wiped my brush out. My brush is a little bit damp, and I just picked up that color there. See? So let's get this other little guy a bit darker, down deep. Just give him a little bit of contrast in there. If you squint your eyes at your painting and something that you want to see isn't showing up, you need more contrast. So I needed more contrast to make some of these petals feel like they are in front, and some that are pushing back farther away. So just have fun with it and experiment. Doodle. A lot of this kind of painting that I do is, I would classify as doodle painting. And what I mean by that is that I don't necessarily have a complete outcome already mapped out in my head. I might have kind of a little idea of what I want to do, but oh my gosh, I forgot. I still have all those pearls to do. You know what? The pearls are going to be a lot more freeform. Hey, Johannes. Welcome. So, well, take care of your mom. Yeah, take care of your mom. Love on your families. I'm going to take that yellow. Looking at that, I'm going to take the yellow. And that's the cadmium yellow primrose. And I'm going to go ahead and just start tapping that in on these pearls. And I'm not going to make them perfectly fill. I'm just tapping that color in. We will dry it. These are going to be much, much more freeform and less prescribed. Few of them will be more detailed, but pretty much I am just filling in those dots. And again, this is where we would be doing speed video if we were doing this on a recorded video. So I will timestamp this so people can jump to the sections that they want. Since it is a long video, having the timestamps. Do you guys like the timestamps? When I timestamp things, it doesn't take me too long to timestamp them. And, you know, so it would be timestamped off as the background for the table, the background of the bowl, painting the rocks, painting the hens and chicks, painting the pearls, painting the cup and saucer. That's how it's going to be broken up. And then the pulling the tape off, because people like the pulling the tape off. Sometimes it's just, that's what they want. They want to see the painting is done. Let's pull the tape off. Hey, Hillary, take care. Yep. And Gina is a total volunteer. And she is amazing. You're going to nap after this? Yeah, Jan, you take care. Yes to the timestamps. Excellent. Okay, so I will be timestamping. Just grabbing some more of that primrose yellow. And just putting it on. And zoom in a little bit. Come on, zoom in. I'm going to resize that and focus. Focus. Now, I do have a little bit of green in my brush, so that's why this primrose does have a little bit of a tone in it. And now I'm just sort of inside the bowl. I'm just being very dot, 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 dab, dab, dab. And just, because we've got that background in already, it makes it really nice, because if I pick up a little bit of that green in the background, it just goes on to these pearls. And because not all of them are bright, but I just want them. And this is a succulent plant. You know, it's a natural plant. We're not, I didn't actually, well, I kind of made up the way I drew it in, but I didn't actually make up this plant. It is a real one. You could totally just make up plants. It's probably real somewhere. You're going to go in watercolor. Excellent. Harlan, thank you. And take care. Have fun. And enjoy playing around with the paint. And enjoy exploring your art and creativity. Make sure and click that like button, guys. If you came in late and you haven't already done it, I know a lot of my community, we come in and we get right into the chat and we don't realize that we didn't click the like button. So please click the like button. Make sure that you are turning on your notifications for the different videos. You know, if you come in late, we accept everybody at all times. Even if you come in late, it's okay. It's okay. And you can always scroll back on the timeline. I do have the DVR set up. You won't be right with us on the chat, but you can still chat if you're here live. I'm just picking up some of that green that's in the background and putting it in on some of these now, just to give a little bit of shadow and light without having to mix up a new color. Make some of these go darker. Boom. Look at that. Just doodle it in. Doodle it in. Don't worry about it being perfect. I'm just, that green that's on my brush, I might pump a little bit darker color into the background right here, or I might just make these berries or these balls just a little bit darker. So what color is that gold? Oh, that green. I do have a sap green in here. I didn't realize. I'm going to pick up that sap green. Well, it looks like I was pretty much making sap green when I was doing my greens earlier. Wow. Just dropping those, the green in, the gold in, doodling and enjoying the process. Making some of those just darker. And you can make this as detailed with your color or not. I could have left these totally not colored in. That would have worked too. Leave some of the edges unpainted. Just adds more highlight without having to go in and do anything to add highlight. Let the paper, the color of the paper, that's why we were working lighter around the berries or around those little pearls. But as you get more dark in there and more contrast, they start to get more shape. This brush, the number 12, has a super, super sharp point. The number 8 is also a really good one. It doesn't hold quite as much paint or quite as much water. The number 8. But it's a really good one, especially on really small paintings or small areas like this. The number 8 or number 6 would be perfectly fine. Number 4, it doesn't go to as sharp a point. My number 4 doesn't. So I actually get a smaller, more controlled spot of color with the, pick up a little bit of phthalo blue into that. I also get, more control. Oh, look at that. And because we've got some water on them, the core paints do flow into the wet areas. Oh, I like that. See, adding that little bit of extra. Yes, troll watching is a thing, and Gina is awesome about it. So please, everybody, thank Gina for her volunteering to help me out here. I appreciate it. Mark is here also, so he tends to concentrate on other things when he's in here. So, but Mark does also look for trolls. But you know what? Many times things that we think are troll behavior are just, like I've said, I've been talking about a lot today. Many things that we think are trollish behavior are just people who don't understand the rules. And once they know the rules, they're okay. So sometimes we need to time them out and give them the rules Just say, hey, this is what we're about here. We're about positivity and cooperation and community. I think that really is learning to be balanced and learning that when you're part of a community, sometimes the things you say, even if people can't see you, really does impact the entire community, not just yourself, and not just the person that you think you're aiming it at. Because, if you say something, you think you're saying it to me, but you're actually saying it to everybody in the room. And everybody in the room could be, in a different place. Some will take it as, oh, well, that's just somebody being a frisky goat running around a field. And some will say, oh my gosh, that person is evil incarnate. And some will say, what planet did they just drop off of? And some will go, oh my gosh, they're attacking me. Or they're attacking somebody I care about. So you have to be careful with your words. In everything, I think, everything in our world, we have to be careful with our words. We have to know that even if we aren't saying something in a specific way, it can be taken in so many different ways. So this is a place of positivity. And oh wow. Look at that. Yeah, I do get drilled in. I do drill in to details, even when I say I'm going to be loose. But working with a bigger brush does keep me from getting as fiddly as I could be. So take that as a blessing. I'm using my bigger brushes so that I'm not as fiddly. Oh, there. A little bit more of that sap green. Take out some of the water. And just start, because the sap green over that cadmium yellow that had a little bit of that turquoise blue teal deep that we built for the very background. I'm picking some of that up and adding it with the, oh yeah, okay, that's good, that's good, that's good, that's good. Sorry, I got on a soapbox there. I think things that are going on in the world just sort of led me to that soapbox. So thank you for letting me have a platform to share my views. Thank you for hanging out and listening as I ramble on and paint this painting in. This is cozy. This is, I think we need things that are growing around us. And if we are like me, I can grow stuff for a while, but if I get sidetracked on other things and I forget. So I'm looking up here. Aw, Michelle, thank you. Yeah. I'm glad that, it's hard. The things going on in our families and with our friends, and not being able to, rush over and comfort those who are grieving, and comforting yourself as you grieve. I think this is definitely a painting of serenity. Just that calm. Green is a serene color in my world. It is a color of, new growth, and things will, what do I want to say? It's the color of things growing. It's the color of optimism. I think green is an optimistic color. serenity. It can be solitude also. It can be solitude, but solitude again is not loneliness. Solitude is the recharging of your batteries. So getting out into nature where it's green and being able to recharge your personal batteries. I know I'm working on really small fiddly things now. I'm just pumping up a little bit of the contrast. You see how I've been working that darker tone so it's light at the top and it works darker as it goes down and around. See these ones down here, they have way too much bright. So I'm going to work some of those into a darker tone. But we are really actually getting quite close. I could work on this for hours, but I'm going to move on, I think. Put a little bit of darker, a little bit of green. Touching on those. All right. I say that and then I keep moving around because I see more places and I want to keep pumping up the contrast. But that's what you do. A watercolor develops over time. So it's kind of like a Polaroid. You start to see it, almost initially, but then it grows, it develops, it gets shape to it. The colors mellow, or the colors don't intensify, but the colors mellow. Quite rightly. Now we'll see, Amy will pop in and she'll go mellow yellow. Quite rightly. Yeah. Okay. I think that's good. I think that half of the painting is awesome. And now, oh wow. Yeah, that is awesome. And this, I think, will work as the cover of maybe a garden journal. Maybe it'll be Slow Down in Garden, or What I Planted, My Memories, Garden Memories. Garden Memories. I like that. Shaky's channel. You love tea. So you tried a new moringa blend last night and it calmed you down? Ooh, nice. Well, there is that. I jumped in and did it before you did. Okay, so now I am going to be kind of covering over that section. We're going to zoom in. And I'm just trying to not... I'm just going to cover that section. We're going to zoom in and we're going to work on the plate. And there is this cobalt teal in here. It's lovely. I think I want to make it a little bit more blue. Ooh. So that was the phthalo blue and the cobalt teal. And yeah, I'm kind of mixing my colors up a little bit. I like that. Phthalo blue and cobalt teal. Except that's way different. I think maybe... Ah, look at that. And then we mix it into the sap green. So it's more blue, but it is a green. And I'm just going to try and keep an edge on both edges. Keep a wet edge on both edges. Working my way around. That is going to be pretty. here. We will work a little bit darker in around the getting it sort of blended in one side and the other side. I want to get it up to that edge of the pearls. I'm not too, well, yeah, I'll do it. I was going to say I'm not too worried about getting that one back there, but trying to keep the color sort of similar. Sort of pulling that color around. And we'll see. It's one of those, I haven't really done anything that was a consistent flat color before with watercolor. This is new for me to work it around like this. I'm trying. I see that I ran my hand through it. Got a drip of color going around the outside. I am getting, I think I had some puddles in my paint. So I'm getting a little bit of that back run. I'm just working my way back around. Darken that up a little bit. I am not going to get a consistent smooth color, but you know what? It's like glazed pottery. That's the cool thing here, is that some of these colors apparently are sedimentary, and they do separate out. I'm trying not to scrub on the paper because this paper is very delicate, and you can end up getting the paper fuzzed up. Let's see. I like that. That's pretty. So let's see if I can clean off. Let's see if I can clean off. Ooh, yeah. So look at that. Jan had just asked, will the colors lift on the bamboo paper? And will the core colors lift on the bamboo paper? And the answer is yes. At least these greens do. And that little bit of phthalo blue that's in it is lifting also. So I just cleaned up that edge on the edge of the cup there. And so now I'm looking at this going, I'm already darker on that side. So let's see. I'm grabbing some more of the sap green with the phthalo blue. Ooh. That's nice and juicy. I'm going to take a nice juicy amount of that and bring it in on this side. The paper is slightly damp, so now I'm going to bring it in and bring it around. My handle is on this side over here now. It's not on the back side. I'm going to say there's shadow right up to the handle on this side, but a little bit of highlight too. A little bit of a highlight. Just letting that green that was there be my highlight. Let's rotate that just a bit. And looking at that, going right back here is going to be really dark. So I'm just glazing in another layer of color. There we go. I appreciate you guys being here with me. This is, it's fun to to get together, to be able to chat and visit. It's also fun to have somebody just hang out in the studio with me. And you guys being here in the chat, you're hanging out with me. See, and I kind of made this up right here where it's over the plate more. They had just like 2 little berries sticking out over the plate. Let's just maybe rotate it that way. Oh, that's easier on my hand. Pulling in some dark right around there. I'm not going to do any more right there. I like that. I like what's happening here. I'm not going to mess with that. I'm going to go like this. Kind of just blur that green on the edge just a little bit. So it's kind of like a little bit of a reflection up here. And I'm going to see about cleaning up this little edge right here. Just get it wet and blot it off. Look at that. And the edge of the cup. This cup is a very pottery cup, you know. What I mean by that is it's a thick cup. So I am putting very watered down, just sort of an edge on that cup. And then I'm going to mix up sort of that orangey brown. I'm going to take Van Dyke brown and what's that one? Oh, that's the purple. That's Diox purple. Ooh, that was kind of pretty. But I'm not going to leave it there. That's some of the gold, the Quin Gold. That's not what I wanted. Quin Gold and Sienna Brown look almost identical in the palette here. And then the yellow azo, look at that. That yellow azo is very close. It all looks brown, but the only brown that's right here is the burnt sienna. Burnt sienna, quinacridone gold, and the yellow nickel azo yellow. Very close in here. You need to have a swatch card to be able to stay on track with those. But I'm just trying to come up with my inside of the coffee cup. Had a little bit of that brown in my I think that this is going to be the crema color. It's not going to be a bright white, because crema really isn't a bright white. And I will dry it. Actually, first I think I'm going to take the burnt sienna, maybe put a little bit of that around the edge. You know, I'm like, I don't know that I want to do the coffee art. You know, that coffee art, especially with how detailed this is over here. I'm thinking the coffee art, I want it to be less strong. So maybe it's just going to just sort of be the blur it out. Maybe I'll just get it with one big heart. That's sort of in the coffee art, you know, sort of there. Oh, I like that. Very subtle. That's, I'm enjoying that. It's subtle. I'm going to make it darker around the outside edge. This whole thing is wet. So I'm working around it, kind of building a little heart. That's pretty. I think maybe just a touch more dark around this edge over here. So I'm just dotting it in because, like I said, this is all wet. Getting it a little bit darker. I'm just tapping it, just tapping ever so slightly with that brush. See? Very subtle. Ah. All right. So let's look at that. Okay, I do need to put color on the handle. The color on the handle I think is going to be that teal. And I will darken it up as it's closer to the edge. I might even put just a few little spots, kind of like reflection light or reflection shadow on that upper rim of the cup. Maybe we're looking down into the cup down there. Maybe the rim isn't as thick as we say it is. Little bit, little bit. Okay, I want to, let's see, is that the phthalo blue? Yeah, phthalo blue. Darkening that up right in there, just a smidge. Just so the handle stands out a little bit. It either needed to be way darker or way lighter. And I didn't want it to be white. So it has to be way darker. I am grabbing some more of that phthalo blue into that green that we've got. And this is the sap green. Green that up just a smidge. And I may I need to make that way darker or go in and highlight it. I'll go in and highlight it. We are going to zoom out, see what we're looking at, and see, yes, oh my gosh, I did it again. Almost a 2-hour show. But look at that heart. Look at that. We've got that sweet little heart. We've got the hens and chicks, the tray. I need to sign. I'm going to sign it right over here. Whoops, not that pen. Sorry. I have the cap sitting right here. See? I have the cap for this pen. Did I put the cap on the pen yesterday? No, I didn't. Okay, fine. Let's grab a different pen. Let's see. Goodness gracious, there it goes. All right. Putting the cap back on the pen. Pulling the tape off. All right. Pulling the tape off. Look at that heart. I am so proud of how that heart turned out. That coffee art, that very gentle. I did not dry with the... I need to heat this tape up really quick. Yeah, please share these videos with your friends, guys. Share my channel with your friends. Make sure to check out my book, 30 Cozy. It's a downloadable file. It's a PDF file. So 30 Cozy and Creative designs here, hand-drawn. I wasn't doing that to dry the paint. I was doing it to soften the tape. Look how easy that pops off now. And if you check the link in the chat or over in the iCard after the show or down in the more information, you can find the book, the file, and I love that. All right, let's turn off the reference and let's zoom in just a smidge. There we go. What do you think? You guys happy with this? Did you enjoy the process? Did you enjoy the length of time this took? Being in real time, sometimes it takes more time to do things. But you know what? I am really proud of the result. I hope that you will check out all of the videos in the playlist after the show is done processing, and make sure that you go out and do something creative. Take care of yourself so you can take care of those around you. I want to see you back here again this afternoon. I will be doing the pile of rocks. I'm going to print it out on another piece of paper because I have an idea for a project, way that I want to do this. And so I'm going to use the one that's actually in the book. I took a few of the rocks off the top that's in the actual download. So I want it to look like the one you guys have. And see you back here, 4 p.m. Pacific time today. Take care, guys. Bye.